Hello everyone, welcome back to AE course. In previous session, we talked about the how simple diffusion happen and how osmosis happen. And now let me go through the facilitate diffusion. First of all, what is the meaning of facilitate diffusion? Some particles, when they want to pass through the cell membrane, they need some help. They need some help, and that help can be provided by a special protein, and those protein they can be either channel or carrier. Now, for example, those ions when they are in our body they are hydrated, and the size of them is so large and they cannot pass through the cell membrane. So they need help, and that help will be provided by the protein that you can see here, channel mediated channel protein. So, what is channel-mediated diffusion? Channel-mediated diffusion is a type of facilitated diffusion during which those charged particles will pass through the cell membrane down their concentration gradient. When I say down their concentration gradient, it means they do not need ATP, and they will move down their concentration gradient from the where that is high concentration to the place or area with the low concentration. And now we have two types of channel mediated diffusion. As you can see here, one of them is voltage gated channel, the other one is ligand gated channel. What is voltage gated channel? Voltage gated channel, those channels that get open due to change in the charge particles in each side of the cell membrane. So when the charge or the potential in both sides of the membrane is changed, this channel will open, like calcium channel at the end of the neurons. Then, what is ligand-gated channel? A ligand-gated channel is a channel that will be open due to binding a ligand to it. So, as a particle, for example, see here, it's closed, for example, and if a ligand bind to it, it will get open. It will get open. So, one of the example for ligand-gated channel, like sodium channel, potassium channel, they're ligand-gated channel. And the other example of the channel mediated diffusion you can see here. I think these are enough. Then the next type of facilitated diffusion is carrier mediated diffusion. Carrier mediated diffusion, it helps the transport of those large particles that cannot pass through the channel proteins. Why? Because channel protein, channel canal, it's so small, the size of it, and these large particle, they cannot pass through it. And these large particle, or those which are two polar, they will pass through the cell membrane with the help of this protein, carrier protein that you can see here. Uh, this protein help the passing and moving the particles, these large particles such as glucose, down the concentration gradient. So it means it doesn't need any energy. And then there are some steps that will be done due to transport these particles through the cell membrane. First, binding. The first step is binding of the particle to this protein. As it binds to the protein will change its shape. So the second step is changing shape of the protein. So protein will change its shape, you can see here, and then that particle will dissociate it in the other side of the cell membrane. One of the most important examples for carrier-mediated diffusion is glucose. Glucose instead of instead of intestine, and kidney tubule, all on other place in our body will transport through the cell membrane with carrier-mediated diffusion. And there is a note here, it's good to know. And as soon as glucose move into the cell, it will metabolize and it will be metabolized. And so always inside of a cell, the amount and concentration of the glucose will be less than outside of cell. So it's always want to go to the inside of the cell.